Hey guys, it's Holly Tate, Vice President of Business Development here at Vanderbloemen, and I am joined by Chantel McHenry, our Senior Manager of Operations. Chantel oversees all of our human resources and our operations team, and she is a powerhouse from HR to systems and processes and project management, and she really is the backbone of all of our operations at Vanderbloemen. So Chantel, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Holly. I appreciate that.
Well, we did a webinar a few days ago where we got a ton of questions about HR best practices. So I wanted to dive in a little bit deeper. And in this video, would love to address the question of how do you know your employees are working when they're working remotely? You know, a lot of ministry leaders are used to being in the office and seeing through, you know, a window through the door of like, oh, they're in their office, they're in a meeting, whatever, where it can be an awkward transition for some leaders to want to make sure that their employees are being productive. So talk us through that.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think there's a handful of things that you can do to kind of make sure that your team members are being pretty productive while we are all working remotely. I think one, and a lot of these we actually do all of them at Vanderbloemen. One is just making sure that you get weekly reports from your team members. On the weekly reports, we're usually talking about what projects are we working on for that week, maybe projects that we have in the queue that are coming up. That when you have that on your list, it helps the supervisor to help you organize what needs to be done next. And then also just listing like things that need to be discussed or things that the supervisor needs to know, or maybe you have questions and you just need to talk it through with them. So I think one way is just making sure you have weekly reports that are coming in. The other way is weekly touch point meetings. We have weekly one-on-ones with our team members. Mine are done on Monday with my team members at the top of the week. That's when we actually go through their report. If they've had questions that they listed, we can talk through those things at that time. But it's a great opportunity to have a virtual meeting. It can be 15 to 30 minutes where you're just touching base, checking in, making sure they're doing good, well, physically, mentally, spiritually. You want to make sure you're checking in on that. And then you can talk about projects that are on their list to do. I think also having a good project management software. This is a game changer. When you have a good software where you can have a vantage point, a deeper dive into some of the projects that your team members are working on, it really helps to see the breadth of what they're working on, all of the projects and tasks that are associated with those actual projects. And then the calendar management.
This is huge.
At Vanderbloemen, we are very big on making sure we're transparent with our calendars. We make sure that they are visible to every single team member. Holly, you could go out to my calendar and look at all of the things that I'm doing today, including any focused work that I have on my calendar where I just need head down time to be able to get some work done. But this is a great opportunity to just see the meetings and webinars and again, focused work that your team members will be doing that day and that week. And then I think one of the biggest things is coaching. So if you find that a team member is not as productive as you think they should be, this is a great opportunity to coach them. When you're in your weekly one-on-ones, find out what's going on. Are they having some barriers to getting some of their projects done? Do they need greater assistance with managing their time? So don't just think that your team members aren't working. Always assume that they are. But when you see that that some of their projects are lagging behind a little bit, spend some time to find out why.
I love that, Chantel, because what you said about assuming that they are working, we have to assume the best. I think that great leaders assume the best about their team members. Because if you go into a meeting and say, you didn't get this done, why, shame on you.
Right.
And instead ask a question. Hey, I noticed you missed this deadline. Tell me more about why that happened. You might find out that they're having an issue with their kid or something is going on at home, especially in this time with COVID-19, where a lot of workers are having to be homeschoolers and caretakers and care for their aging parents and so I love
Absolutely.
that point. That's super critical. And ultimately, Chantel, you know, at Vanderbloemen, we help organizations hire the right people and get the right
Yes.
people and the right seats on the bus. And so I really believe that if you're hiring the right people, this conversation is a lot easier because they're connected to your vision, they're in sync with where you're going as an organization, and they're going to be self-motivated to get there rather than you having to you know, micromanage them. Nobody wants to be a micromanager or be
No.
micromanaged. So, well, these are great tips, Chantel. Let's go over them real quick again. So we had
Sure.
weekly updates, and then what was the second one?
Weekly touch points, one-on-one meetings with your team members. Look into purchasing some type of project management software that will give you great visibility into the projects that your team members are working on. Make sure you have some kind of plan to manage calendars, some kind of process that you put in place that is company organization wide, that everyone adheres to. And then just remember, as you've stated, make sure that you're trusting your employees, you're hiring the right people. And when you see that they're not producing the way that you'd like them to, now it's time to put your coach hat on and to help them be successful in their role.
That's great. Thank you so much, Chantel. Great wisdom today.
Thank you.